So CaseOh recently reacted to my video and he was flabbergasted at every part of the run. I have been watching some of his 60 seconds VODs and he's not that good, so I thought I would make a guide to not only help out CaseOh but also you guys. This guide probably applies if you want to reach days 300 to 400 plus, and maybe if you get lucky enough 500 plus. I have split this guide into 4 segments: the scavenge where you collect stuff, the early game in the bunker, the middle game in the bunker, and finally the late game. Also yes, I have a new mic so it doesn't sound like I'm speaking into a cup anymore. 1. The scavenge. The scavenge is probably the most consistent part of the game. If you get good at it, you can get good scavenges every time, as long as you get a good seed. Let's analyze what a good seed, at least for me, is. Since I want to have a lot of food from the get-go, I consider every seed with the kitchen right next to the bunker a good seed. So if I see a seed where the kitchen isn't right next to the bunker, I reset. Now that we have an understanding of when to actually try to scavenge, we need to know what items we should be collecting. This one's not so complicated. Try to grab every item in the game except the radio and suitcase, and also grab as much food as possible and at least 2 bottles of water. I avoid the radio since it usually breaks at the start of the run anyway, and I avoid the suitcase because it just takes too much space. If you forget to grab an item like the lock, it's fine as long as you get it during the run somehow. Also, for maximum efficiency, try to always have all 4 hands filled up before you go in the bunker. Now let's talk about movement. As you can see, when we press the W key to go forward, we start really slow, but after a few steps we start going at top speed. However, there is a way to almost eliminate those slow steps at the start. If you try running diagonally, as you can see, we immediately pick up the pace without starting slowly. Even if this looks like we're going to the side, we're actually going diagonally. But while we're running like this, we're still going slower than the top speed of running normally. However, we can combine the 2 tactics like this. When we want to go somewhere, we start running diagonally, and after a bit we switch to going normally, and the momentum will have carried over, meaning that we never actually were running slowly. Now for the final and probably most important tip: always stop running before grabbing items. I'm going to attempt 2 scavenges here. One of them I will be holding the W key the entire time, and for the other I will use this secret tactic. As you can see, that was a really bad scavenge. Basically, when you're running and to pick up an item or throw it in the bunker, the game waits for the animation of you running to stop, and only then does it continue with the grabbing, resulting in losing valuable time. Now I'll do the scavenge with my secret tactic. Notice that when I'm picking up items, I pick them up immediately with no cooldown. That is because instead of holding down left click, I individually click for everything, and also I let go of my W key right before picking up any items. That means that when I pick up an item, I'm completely still. This way the running animation has stopped when I pick up the item, so I pick it up immediately. Now I will do a scavenge utilizing all of the tactics mentioned. I will run a seed with the kitchen right next to the bunker. I know which items to scavenge. I will try to always fill up all 4 item slots before going to the bunker, and I will use the movement tactics. That scavenge wasn't perfect, but it's still pretty good. Now let's move on to the early game. 2. The early game. Here we want to collect some items and hopefully food and water from expeditions. I like to send Timmy with the playing cards here. But why the playing cards? There's a list of items on screen right now. Those are items that you could bring with you in a scav. On the right, there are different outcomes of what could happen during the expedition. Let's say we send Timmy with cards. When he comes back, he will have completed one of the numerous scavenges that already exist, but also, if we get lucky, at the end of the scavenge, Timmy could also bring one of these bonuses because he had the cards with him. Pretty much, we want to also get an extra 2 bottles of water because we don't have that much water. An alternative to the cards are the checkers with the exclusive chance to either get a radio or 3 cans of soup. Take a screenshot of this right now. This will maybe help in the late game. For example, if we are low on food in the late game and have the mutant to help us with the expedition, we can send with the checkers for a maximum chance of getting food from the expedition. The radio might also be useful in the late game because it has a chance to give you a free gun. And yes, you can get multiple of these bonuses by sending someone with the suitcase, keep that in mind. Now that we have got that out of the way, I should mention that when you see this trash can event, don't do anything. The roaches will come in the bunker, but that means we will get another event right after to whack them, and that way instead of getting only one event, we get a second one, and you never know. Maybe when you whacked them, the game wanted to give you bandits or something, so you skipped them. I hope I'm understood. Also, I not only leave the radio in the house because it's gonna break to a natural disaster event anyway, but because of this event right here. If you click yes, it can either give you a soup or break your radio, and because we don't have a radio right now, it's gonna 100% give us soup. Timmy came back on day 9 with 3 bottles of water. We didn't get the bonus of the playing cards, but that's okay. The scavengers we're looking for are: number 1, the scavenge where Timmy finds soup and water on sale and gets +4 water and +4 food. Number 2, the event where Timmy finds a fishing house or something and he gets +5 food and +4 water. By the way, this one's really rare, I think. I've only gotten it like twice ever. And number 3, which is the best one, is the raided supermarket event where Timmy goes to a supermarket that has been taken over by bandits and steals +6 water and +4 food. Don't expect these scavengers every run, and if you don't get them, then you should send dollars with the checkers to make up for the required stuff. But be aware of this: every scav after the Timmy one, aka the first scavenge, has a chance to get followed. You can see if you get followed by looking at the end of the scavenge. If it says, "Oh, we think we got followed by somebody, but we should be more careful," or something along these lines, then just reset. You got unlucky, and even if you try, you won't even make it to day 100. Alright, now let's move on to the middle game. Number 3, the middle game. The middle game is from around day 20 to day 200. During this phase, you want to stay in the bunker and try to get a lot of food and water without leaving. You will get every good event until day 200, no exceptions. So no, I didn't get extremely lucky in my world record. Every run will always see every event at least once, and that includes the bad ones. If you're going for day 250 or 300, then don't take that many risks. But if you're going for day 400 plus, you need to start risking a lot. For example, on day 10, I opened the door when I heard knocking. The good thing that can happen is you get 2 cans or 2 bottles of water, but you get sick. And that's fine because we have a medkit. When you're sick, don't use the medkit immediately. Instead, wait until instead of sick, it says that Dolores is diseased, which means she will die in a couple of days or something. During the time while she's sick, you can take risks that could get you sick or hurt because you will use the medkit anyway eventually. Also, CaseOh for some reason feeds Dolores every 5 days, and whenever he sees that she's starving, he gives her food and then continues like that. However, I believe that that isn't the optimal way to feed her. The optimal way to ration supplies is give water every 5 days and give food whenever Dolores says she's starving. Sometimes it takes her 4 days to say that she's starving, sometimes it takes her 5 days, so just feed her when she's starving. Also, on day 11, I got this ventilation event where you should just do nothing. Also, answer the twins' phone call and then ignore them and the military. I also got the first mutants that, as I mentioned before, you will always get them by day 200. Don't forget to always prepare expeditions to skip half of the event. On day 28, I got this event and I just want to correct CaseOh's mistake. Here you should always use the mask because using the book has a chance to get you sick. On day 30, I noticed that Dolores is diseased, so I use the medkit on her. I also get Pancake on day 36 and he will give us food. I get the chance to steal from the retirement home. Don't do this ever for 2 main reasons. Number 1, by doing this Dolores loses sanity, and if you say no, Dolores gains a lot of sanity, so you should probably say no. Number 2, this one's way more important than number 1. If you steal from them, the twins will stop talking to you, and that's a big pain in the late game. Basically, the military and the twins contact you around every 10 days, so in the end game, every 10 days we will be skipping 5 of them by preparing expeditions, and 2 of them because the military and the twins both take up an event every 10 days. So if we don't have the twins, then that's an extra event where the bandits can attack us DPS, and having more defense against bandits or taking more precautions is much better than just getting like 4 cans of food. So the bandits will always have a higher chance to attack us if we steal, so don't steal, let the old people rest. On day 50, Pancake makes me follow him, and you have 2 choices here. The map, which gives you 3 foods, and the axe, which gives you 4 waters. If you're going for a world record, then go for the map, and that's what I did, even though I should have gone for the axe because I only had 1 water. On day 64, some traders offer me food and water, and I really contemplated selling the gun here, but I decided against it for some reason. Also on day 68, this guy asks me to buy a rock, and I buy the damn rock. CaseOh always says no for some reason, but if you click yes, he ends up giving you the rock for free, and also there's a chance he comes back and refills your thirst because he brought water later on, so there is nothing to lose here if you buy the rock. Right as I was running out of water, I got the harmonica event with the cockroaches, and I got an extra food and an extra water. On day 82, I get the opportunity to repair my medkit with the spray, and I just want to point this out. Don't do this, there's not really a good reason, just keep your spray. Not only is it more helpful, you can get a medkit another way. Also in the late game, if you have a spray but no medkit, the "we need medical supplies" event will be showing up a lot, so just don't fix the medkit and you will have an additional event in the late game to hopefully help with bandits. Oh, and would you look at that, the guy I bought the rock from made Dolores hydrated, so now I don't have to give her water on days that end with a 5 and a 0, but I will give her water on days that end with a 3 and an 8. On day 90, I get this event. Here, if you want water and have a medkit, go for the flashlight for a chance to find water, but if you don't have a medkit or you don't have a mask, go for the axe. I do this and get a medkit. On day 98, these traders come by. This is where you're supposed to sell the radio. I tinkered with the radio that I got early on, and it broke, and I didn't get the chance to get another radio, so I just sold the checkers, and I was in a really bad position because I basically had no water and I couldn't sell the radio. On day 108, I got the chance to go steal from the neighbor's safe. If you do this, then you will get a random item, but you might get sick from it. I got a suitcase but didn't get sick, luckily. I also got a radio from the young singer, but it's too late to sell it. On day 122, I let in the guys who say open up in the name of freedom, and they gave me waters. On day 124, I got this event. This one's tricky. By not using the medkit, Dolores loses a lot of sanity. A lot of sanity. If you're early on, then just use the medkit, but maybe if you want to be risky during the middle game, don't use it. But now you want to refill her stamina fast. Also remember this rule, always tinker with the radio. If you don't, Dolores loses sanity, and if you break it, you can easily get a new one. Also, by tinkering with it, you can get 2 good events, one of which is this one. On day 132, I get attacked by bandits, and I'll talk about them in the late game. So for now, I just use the gun. On day 138, I get this event. Here you have 2 choices. 1. Use the flashlight, and maybe you will get a random item. 2. Use the gun. This one's all luck based. By you using the gun, you have like a 40% chance to get 2 waters. I hate this event because I can recall so many times during my world record attempts where I used the gun and nothing happened. I didn't have a gun here, so I used my flashlight and nothing happened, so I just continued on. On day 140, I tinker with the radio and it explodes. On day 148, I get the other mutants, and on day 150, I found a suitcase outside my door. If I was going for the record, I would probably risk it, and so I risked it anyway. If you get lucky, you will get a can of soup, and if you get unlucky, then you will get sick or hurt. Dolores got sick. Damn it. On day 152, I got the abandoned tank event. If you check it, it can have a radio or a mask or ammo thing, but there's like a 50% chance you die on the spot because it was booby trapped. If I was going for world record, I would probably risk it because I am a madman, so I risk it. Damn it. Let's run that back, I'm sorry. I get the same scavenge, but in this one I also have ammo. I sent Timmy with the cards again. What does he come back with? Oh god. I kid you not, I contemplated resetting the run so I wasn't called the cheater, but I decided I'll continue. This is the scavenge we're looking for, but on day 13 I got raiders. As I said, I'll explain them in the late game. For now, I'll just use the gun. This run quickly outshines the last one as I sell the radio for 4 waters on day 35. On day 53, I get this event. I always skipped this one while going for world record. But apparently, according to Adrian, the 484 run holder, if you actually go hunting, you have a chance to get food. Careful though, since there's a chance that you die if you do this. Kinda like the tank event. For educational purposes, I take the risk and nothing happens. On day 55, I sell my ammo to this guy, which you should always do. By following the rule of always tinker with the radio, I tinker with it on day 112 and get the second good event, the one where you get 2 soups. I do everything I can to get guaranteed food and water, and then on day 163 I tank the medkit event. Even if Dolores is the most sane person in the world, you still wanna be careful here. On day 167 I tinker with the radio, but because nothing happened, Dolores somehow went crazy. I thought that the run was probably over, but this was a perfect opportunity for an educational lesson. On day 169, a group of refugees show up and they ask for supplies. If you do nothing, Dolores loses a bit of sanity, and also there's like a 1% chance that they steal everything because they think you're a bumhole. Don't worry about that though. If you give them a food or water, then they will raise your sanity and also have a chance to give you either a map or a radio. I gave them a water and Dolores got sane again. This pretty much concludes the middle game. Let's finally get on with the fatal late game. Number 4. The late game. This is the part of the run where there's not really much you can do. I'll just mention that you shouldn't really contact the military through the radio in this event. That's because if you do, then you will only see the military when you have a radio, at least I think so. But if you haven't contacted them, then you will still get the event every 10 days even if you don't have a radio. So you should not risk it. Alright, let's finally talk about bandits. They can just randomly attack you. I'm not sure if there's a pattern to them, but I'll tell you what I have noticed over all the runs I did. If they attack you early on, they leave you alone until like day 230 or something. If they attack you around day 150, then they might screw you over. If they attack you on day 200, they might start annoying you a couple of times, but not that much. Most runs die to the bandits in this segment. In this run, they attacked me on day 13 and on day 205. Then they attacked me on day 207. So yeah, you just have to hope that God loves you. I've lost countless runs just because the bandits are jerks, and I am not the only one. This segment is what makes the run truly difficult. Although the gods blessed me and gave me a gun back. Yes, I started thinking that they're gonna call me a cheater again when this happened, but there was nothing I can do about it. The most efficient way to proceed is to 1. Always let the roaches come in and only then whack them. 2. Wash yourself with a mask every time you get the opportunity. 3. Ignore the military and twins and start praying. The bandits are being jerks and they attack me on day 215. On day 225 they show up again and I use the mutant to defend myself. Also keep in mind that when you use the spray, there's a very good chance that not only do you use the spray but also lose 2 cans of food. So sometimes it might be better to just let the bandits in and hope they don't screw you over. When you only have the lock left, wait like 10 days and send Dolores with one of the things from the list you took a screenshot of before. Usually you wanna send with either the radio for the chance of getting a gun or with the checkers for the chance of getting food. Another thing that you should remember is that the suitcase is really useful in the late game, because in the free scavenge you can send Dolores with multiple things for a maximum chance of getting one of the bonuses. For example, in my world record I send her with the ammo, the cards and the radio, which all 3 of these things are on the list. I for some reason chose the checkers in this run, and when you send Dolores, we want all of these things to happen. Number 1, she should bring back food and water so we don't have to worry about it that much. Number 2, she should bring back weapons like the axe or the spray. Number 3, which is the most important one, she needs to be sneaky and not get followed. You can check if she got followed by looking at the end of the scavenge description, as I mentioned before. The chances of her pulling off this insane feat are slim, but not impossible. For this run, Dolores didn't bring back enough food, didn't bring back any weapons, and got followed, so that was basically worst case scenario. On day 284, the bandits strike again and steal 2 water balls from me. Right after, I sent Dolores again and she brought back an axe and 2 waters, and also got followed again. I then used the axe on the bandits, used the harmonica and the lock on the other bandits, and I sent an expedition with the radio because I ran out of food, and Dolores died on day 327. I know this is bad, but you will probably get luckier than me in the late game. Also, hello CaseOh, I know you're watching this because I can feel your gravitational pull. Jokes aside, hopefully this guide helps you, man. I've been watching the 60-second VODs and judging by the way things are going,
Wait, did I not use it? As long as they didn't steal everything, we're good. Oh, okay.
I figured you would get disappointed and quit. When I saw your reaction to my run being verified, I laughed, but you also seemed really sad. If you have any questions, you could easily hit me up on Discord or something. And hey, when you get that PB, remember me, man. Heck, when you get that world record, remember me. I said it. I hope this guide helped CaseOh. I hope this guide helped all of you. Good luck to all of you. You will need it. Subscribe now. Bye.